Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Tanks and welcome back today to another tank review. Yes, I got off my ass and I'm finally doing a tank review again. Oh, isn't that great? And today I'm doing a review on the Tier 8 Premium. It's not premium, it's a reward tank, the Chimera, for doing the second stage of the second set of personal missions that you have to do on the way to the Object 279. You can see here you have to go through the Excalibur first, then you do the Chimera, and then you move on to the Object 279. And today I'm just going to be doing a review on this tank, telling you guys what I think about this thing, the good points, the bad points, comparing it to others, the crew, all of that good stuff. And then there is some ace tanker gameplay at the end. And please guys, even if you're not interested in this first bit at all, go check out the Ace Tanker gameplay at the end. I will leave a link in the description down below so you can jump straight over there. But anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the review. So the Chimera, what is this thing all about? I'll just give you a general kind of overview first. Should we see? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do that. A project even for a heavy British tank designed to counter the Soviet IS-3. It does that quite well. Despite non-standard solutions and the application of German tank building technologies, the project was discontinued and existed only as blueprints. So it's not a real tank, and that is not surprising because, well, it's quite crazy. It's a weird tank. In the game, it's classed as a medium, although it weighs 55 tons, 57 tons actually, just shy of, which is definitely heavy tank territory. Like, there are a lot of heavy tanks in the game that weigh a lot less than that. I think it's one of, if not the heaviest medium tanks in the game. Now, why is that? It's got a dirty great 127mm gun. She'd be a really big gun. Like, that is not to be messed around with, and again, in the gameplay, you're gonna see why that is. But yeah, overall, I enjoy this tank. It plays a very, like, unique playstyle, I feel, and it's a playstyle that I kind of like, to be honest. But anyway, let's jump in over onto Tanks GG, and I will show you the stats of the vehicle. Compare it to some others. Not that it really compares very well, but I'll go over that in just a second. Right, so here we go, guys. We've got the Chimera on the left. We've got the STG, which I think is the thing that it compares most similarly, I can't say that word, to at Tier 8. And then I've also got the FV4202 and the Centurion 5.1, just there for reference. So you guys can look at this. I'm not going to directly compare to these all the time. There might be one or two stats that I do, but they're just there for you guys to have a look so you can see with the green or the red what is better and what is worse. But mostly, I'm going to be comparing this tank to the STG, because as far as I can think, other than the T-34-3, but that's got preferential matchmaking, so that's why I've left it out, this is the only other high alpha damage Tier 8 medium tank, as far as I can think. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's all I can think of. So straight off the bat, Chimera has better DPM, which is weird considering it has higher alpha. That is a killer combination. Higher DPM and higher average damage. 440 average damage on a Tier 8 medium tank. That's high average damage for a heavy tank, and that would be acceptable at Tier 8 for a tank destroyer. Which means this thing just plays, you just trade with things at Tier 8 and just really don't care, because the only things you really can't trade with are tank destroyers, like things like the Scorpion, the SU. Everything else, you just go, oh, put 240 into me, put 300 into me, I'll do 440 to you. And it kind of works surprisingly well. You just do such big hits to enemy tanks, and the penetration as well, 218, is not that bad at all. I mean, it's not amazing, but you got to remember, again, he said not comparing it to these two, but straight away compared it to these two. These two tanks have got some of the highest penetration on Tier 8 medium tanks. And this thing is not too far behind. Consider it's a dirty great 127mm gun. That's fine by me. The rate of fire is obviously pretty poor. The reload time base is 15.5 seconds. I think mine's about 12.5 after obviously you add rammer, everything like that, which is quite nice. Like I said, 127mm gun, which means you are overmatching definitely some armor I can't be bothered to do the maths. But it's obviously having a higher caliber gun does mean that you overmatch more things, especially if you're up against tier 6s. This thing is just brutal to tier 6s. It's also got a very nice shell velocity. This is something that got buffed in the last patch. I should point out that this is after the buffs to the Chimera in patch 1.4. I didn't say that at the start, but this is after the buffs. So that shell velocity of 950 is very, very nice. And if you swap to the premium rounds on this tank, you get 252mm penetration and 1,100 average shell velocity, 1,100 shell velocity, which is very, very nice. Ammo capacity as well is not a problem on this tank. You get 40 rounds, and 40 rounds at 440 is more than enough to, even in a tier 10 game, if you fire in willy-nilly, you're still going to struggle to get your way through all of that. Now onto the gun handling, which is probably something that you'd expect, considering it's such a big gun on a low tier tank, to be terrible. But it's not. It's not amazing. 2.5 seconds aim time standard and 0.36 dispersion. Not amazing, but they are not bad by any stretch of the imagination. And the dispersions as well are not at all bad either, comparing nicely to all the rest of the tanks in this comparison. Again, gun depression, 20 degrees of elevation, 10 degrees of gun depression. That's very good. Like, you can obviously fight over ridgelines on this thing very, very, very nicely. It's weird. Top speeds as well. All four of these tanks, all the exact same. Obviously, 900 horsepower engine blowing the rest pretty much out the water, but it does weigh 56 tons, which is a very heavy tank. That is a fatty old tank. And it's got a better horsepower per ton ratio than the STG and the FV4202. I mean, the ground resistances aren't anywhere near as good as the 4202, nearly twice as bad, and aren't as good as the STG, so it probably evens most of these tanks out. The Centurion 5.1 is a little bit faster, but it's not slow. I mean, it's not quick. It's not like a Progetto. It's not like a Batchat. It's not like stuff like that are ridiculously fast. But it's not a slow tank. Again, for how much it weighs, the caliber of the gun it has, it's really not a slow tank. Turret traverse 26 degrees per second. That is very bad, but that's just because you've got a dirty great 127mm gun in that tank. You can't have that spinning around too fast. That would be a danger to the health of people nearby and yourself probably. Tank traverse to 30 degrees a second, again pretty bad, but I think that's just because of how heavy the tank is and how big everything inside it is, which means that you can get flanked quite easily by light tanks and things like that, and especially the new wheeled vehicles. Not that it's happened to me yet, touch wood, but I'm sure that would be a thing, because combined you've only got you can only traverse the gun at 56 degrees a second, which isn't great at all and is one of the letting down factors of the tank. Armor I'll come on to in a minute. Hit points towards the top end of tier 8 medium tanks, 1,400. Again, 50 more than the STG, but they're all much of a muchness, to be honest. Really good engine health. Not sure why that is. Downright health doesn't matter. And 380 meters view range, which is not the highest, but at the same time, it's not terrible. Like 370 on the STG is not bad. 308 on the Chimera is even better. It's not too bad at all. And you do make a fair amount of profit in this tank, because the standard shells only cost 755 credits per shot. And you're doing 440 alpha. Now, I'd like to point out now, this tank does not make premium credits, I don't believe. I haven't seen that, but to be honest, I haven't been paying attention. I should probably know this, but this is me. You've got to expect me to be crap, okay? Excellent. Yeah, its shell cost, considering how much damage it is very, very nice, considering these guys cost less than 100 less, and they do half the damage, just over half the damage, literally just over half the damage. So, stats-wise, the Chimera looks a little bit broken, and I would kind of agree with that, to be honest, guys. It is an insane tank. Now, let's just jump onto the armor. And again, I'd just like to point out now, this armor model is a little bit broken. The turret looks fine to me from what I've experienced, but the hull is a little bit broken, and I'll just point out the raw values and roughly what you can expect from it. So the turret's got a big old cupola on top, and the whole of the front of the turret is about 200mm thick, which at tier 8 Most things are going to be going through that. Some medium tanks and some light tanks will bounce. And if you're using some funky angles like this and stuff and someone hits a funky part, it can bounce. The mantlet, again, pretty much the same. If you shoot just to the left or just to the right of the gun where there's armor gap behind the mantlet, then it's just that 203mm. If you hit here, it is very well angled, very well armored. So this turret, never ever rely on it to bounce. Never ever, because most things are probably going to go through it. But it has got a little bit of armor. It does bounce occasionally, which makes it nice just for not having, you know, HE fired at it. And when you go over a ridgeline or something, not knowing that that tank on the other side is guaranteed to pen. The front of the hull, for some reason, the model on Tanks GG, to find out how thick the front of the hull is, we have to go to the back of the tank and look through the tank. It's 114mm on the upper plate and the lower plate. Again, it's not ideal. You're probably going to be looking at about 150 to 170mm of armor on this without angling it. So most things are going to be able to pen that. Sides and rear is typical British. Again, for the rear, we have to go to the front. Very, very weak. So, yeah, that's not an armor gap on in-game. That's just an armor gap for some reason in Tanks GG. Don't really know what's going on with this model, but yeah. So the armor is not great, but it's not like, I don't know, charioteer armor, where things can pen you with HE and stuff like that. And artillery, although it's only 25mm thick, if he hits anything like this, it's got some thickness in some places, is what I'm trying to say. And you don't get overmatched as well, which is very, very nice. It obviously helps. Is the thingy? No, it's definitely not fixed on this. And obviously, remember, this is a 127mm gun. So, like I say, you cannot overmatch more than you could a standard, like, 83mm gun. So, that's a 20-pounder and things like that. But, yeah, those are the stats of the Chimera. I'm just going to jump back into the garage quickly, give you a rundown very quickly of the crew. I'm not going to go into that in too much depth. The equipment, and then my overall opinion on the tank. So here we go, jumping back into the garage, guys, and we'll go through crew stats, crew skills first, just very, very quickly. Because this tank is a reward vehicle, you can put a crew of another tank in. For example, I've got my Centurion Action 10 crew in there. That's just because that's pretty much the only crew that I've got that will fit. But if you've got, you know, a Cromwell or anything like that, you can chuck that crew in here as well. So you're probably not going to have crew skills specific to this tank. But, you know, you never know. I've got a full female crew as well. So first skill, I've gone Brothers in Arms. Obviously, that comes standard. Then you've got your standard Sixth Sense. I went for Deadeye. Again, that's my Centurion crew. That's not a bad shout on this because it's a 127mm gun. Does a lot of damage. You will get a lot of module damage. And if you come across weakly armored things, these HE rounds, 64mm penetration. They do, I think, 530 average damage. So they can really tear some lightly armored tanks to shreds. Off-road driving, although if I was specialising for this tank, I'd go for clutch braking just because of that poor tank traverse. And safe stowage is a no-brainer. Going for full repairs, definitely would go for that on this tank as well. And then for the fourth skills, recon, situational awareness, everything like that. Not Deadeye. Snapshot, smooth ride or off-road driving, anything like that. Usual skills, to be honest. Just go have a look at any of my other tanks that aren't premiums on crew skills, and I'll go through those on there. I'm not going to go through that and bore you too much now. Equipment loadout, real quick. Gun rammer, fairly obvious. Vert stabs, again, obvious. Don't need to explain those. Your third slot, you've probably got two options. You can either go for coated optics or improved ventilation. Now, is improved vents 2, which I believe means they're cheaper. I think 150,000 credits, which is very nice. So if you're on a budget, definitely go for vents. I've gone for optics just because the standard view range is only 380, which is a little on the low side. So my setup, I mean, I have got 98% recon, 98% situational awareness, premium consumable, and optics. I've got 472 meters view range, which is very, very, very nice indeed. If I put vents on, I'm not sure if the view range will be above 445. I think it'd be close. Vents is definitely a viable option. Obviously, that'll bring the reload time down a bit, make everything a little bit better. But I'm going for spotting at the minute, just so I can outspot my opponents. And it seems to be working pretty well. My overall opinion on the tank, I mean, I've played 7 games in it. I aced it literally about half an hour ago. And yeah, the tank is very strong. Probably a bit too strong. But in a way, I kind of like that. Because at the end of the day, it's a reward vehicle. And I'm not going to go into this too much. Because if you watch me a lot, you know my opinions on this. If you don't, then I'll give you the 30-second version. I think the reward vehicles, personally, this is just my opinion, so don't just start having to go at me in the comments. This is just my opinion on the game. I think they should be a little bit better, especially the ones where people have to actually try really hard to get them. For example, Clan Wars, the personal missions tanks, things where they don't. No, things like the Stug 4, I wouldn't say that needs to be too good because most people are going to get that. Maybe a little bit better. But tanks like the Chimera, to get this tank, you do have to be a very, well, not a very good player, but a good player. Like some of the last missions on the tank, 6,500 damage, 8,000 damage combined. Some people never do that. So you have to be a good player. So I think, yes, you put in the good players in the best tanks, but you don't see that many Chimeras running around. I mean, not many people have them yet. I think there's less than 1,000, something like that. But they've deserved this tank. They've earned this tank, and it's not going to break the game because it's just one tank that a couple of players may play every now and again. And yes, the Chimera is very, very good. And since the buffs, I didn't play it before the buffs, but since the buffs, I would 100% recommend this tank. Grinding for, oh well, not grinding for it, but doing the missions to get this thing is definitely worth it. And I think you can kind of see how good it is if I'm using the 3 mark mod, by how much it takes to 3 mark this tank. It's absolutely insane. To 3 mark this tank, you need an average spotting and damage of 4,840, approximately. This is all approximate. To put that into perspective, the Patriot, 2,500, and nobody ever accused the Patriot of being played badly. The career pattern, 2,600. Liberté, 2,400. Emile, a tank that's arguably played very well, 2,800. It's a very good tank. The Lorraine, again, another tank arguably played well, 2,700. I think the proof is in that it's so high to 3 market, and again, at the minute, I think there's only about 1,000 players have it, so you know the stats are going to be it's only going to be the best players who do have it. But I think it's a very, very good tank and well worth doing the missions for. But yeah, anyway, enough of me talking and no things blowing up. I hope you enjoyed the video so far, guys. If you have, please give the video a like. Leave your comments down in the comments. What are your opinions on the tank? What are your opinions on the video? What are your opinions on, I don't know, some giraffe named Dave? I don't know. Comments are there. Go nuts. Not too nuts. If you have enjoyed the video, guys, and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And yeah, let's go jump into the Ace Tanker gameplay. I don't know if I said that, but it is an Ace Tanker. Right, so here we go, guys, into the gameplay. Now, I think this tank looks quite cool, to be honest. And this is the unique camouflage that you get, by the way, for this tank. And again, I think it looks pretty good. Hey, that's pretty good. Yeah, I quite enjoy this tank. Oh, there's a screenshot opportunity there. No, there's not. I'll do that in a minute. I'll do that after the video if I need to. But yeah, so Chimera. We're in a tier 9 game. It's 357, so there are tier 7s as well. So we're mid tier. It's good matchmaking, but this tank can survive at tier 10. That's because it's got the really big gun, and like I said, 252mm of APCR pen. You can just load that, and 252 pen and 440 damage. That's kind of tier 10 anyway. And the good thing with having 440 is things even at tier 10, medium tanks, some heavy tanks, can't even out-trade you. So you can still have good games at tier 10s. I've still had some very good games at tier 10 in this thing. It is a very, very, very nice tank. Now, on to kind of the play style of this tank, and obviously that's why you guys are watching this video. You want to know how the tank plays, what it plays like. It plays well. It plays very, very well. It plays like a heavy tank, medium tank hybrid, and that is something that I like. And this tank, because it hasn't got the armor, so you can't play it like like a heavy tank. You can't go in, you can't brawl, you can't do things like that. And the DPM isn't good enough for you to, you know, just out DPM everything and just sit in front of their guns, take one shot, put 2 shots in. You kind of have to play it a little bit passively, but not too passively. So you can see me this game. You saw me there doing something which is very Unmax-like, especially if you've seen my stream. Very Unmax-like. I actually chilled and just waited and didn't charge in, didn't charge around the corner, didn't go, oh god, I'm going in. But you can see I've come to the heavy tank corner, and that's because I feel like that's what you have to do in this tank. You have to play where the heavies play. Now, VK, tier 7 medium tank. Does a solid 100 damage. Hang on a minute. Oh dear, they go 520 of your hit points. It's alright, that'll polish out, mate. Don't you worry about that. Yeah, unfortunately he repairs before I can get a second shot. And you can see the DPM on this thing is not great at all. 389? Quite a big low roll. Low roll by 50, but he still really does not want to take that shot. This tank is just so nice at trading things. You can see again, I don't really know what was going through this VK's head. He was like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Let's trade with him. It wasn't a good idea. Trade against the Lerva, and that's what you've just got to try and do in this tank. That was a poor shot. I bounced the Lerva's round. Again, I think he hit, that was APCR, I think he must have hit my upper plate at an extreme angle or something like that. Fortunately for me, artillery tracks him, so my second shot, straight into the lower plate, 465. Just such big alpha bombs in this tank. I mean, I've fired 3 shots in a tier 8 medium tank, and I'm up to 1,400 damage almost. I've almost done the hit points of my vehicle in 4 shots. It's ridiculous. Now the Lerva, not looking my way. Again, 444. Very nice. Just such a big punch in this tank. Such a huge smack in the face. And yeah, it's a bit brutal, to be honest. I'm not complaining because it's quite hard to get the tank. You can't do it easily. It's not something that, you know, you can go, right, I'm gonna get myself a Chimera this afternoon. Don't work like that. And again, don't really know what the VK was doing, but did you see that, guys? It was on 380 health. You can kind of see my surprise here, like, oh shit, I need to run away. I didn't kill him. And artillery, fortunately for me, finishes him off. But yeah, the Chimera, VK, 380 health, I've got 440 average damage, and he doesn't die. I leave him on 50 health. That was almost a min roll there, guys. IKV, 200 health, still 100% worth. There's ISM and T29, focusing here on trying to kill that Oni. I go around, want to put a shot into this T43, go for the tracking shot, boom, nice average roll, near enough, 442. Artillery does track me. I repair. Use my first aid kit as well to unstun, just so I don't get hit by the other two. Something I should also point out in this game, 3 artillery, which is one of the reasons I decided to come to the heavy tank corner and not fight like the 1-2 line as well. Because 3 artillery and the heavy tank is basically safe by the big old Zeppelin. So I didn't want to be consistently farmed by artillery all game, because you know what artillery's like. If they see a tank that they don't really know a lot about, or they see a tank that they know is a good tank, they usually, not always, they're usually gonna shoot at it. And yeah, T29 again, heavy tank, 450 alpha. Looks like he does have a smaller gun, maybe the 90mm. Because he has got that muzzle brake on that gun, which means it's definitely not the 105. Go for another shot. Get hit that time by 2 artillery at the same time. This T29 is not the smartest player. That might even be the 76, to be honest, looking at how small that is. And I do lose a load of hit points to that. But so far in this game, I've been trading well. I've been trading nothing for 440, and we're already up to 3,300 damage. Now, I'd just like to point out as well, can we just point out, just have a look at how many kills I'm on, guys. That'd be 1. And have a look how many tanks are left alive on the enemy team at the minute. It's 6. It's currently 6 versus 6. We've got 3 tanks on each team, 3 artillery on each team. And this 1390 is in and amongst our artillery, so no prizes guessing what's just about to happen to all of our artillery. Here, there we go, he killed 2. I kill the T-29 to try and even the scores up a little bit. And just try and stay safe from artillery. Down this hill we should be alright. Just trying to make sure, oh, is that good? Oh, that's a bit better. No, Max, do it at the end of the video. And now I decide I need to try and find this 1390. My T-29, one of my last friends who is in an actual tank, gets killed by the GW Tiger P, which is good because, well, he's dead. I go over at the 1390, T-69 gets spotted behind me, he does put one shot into me, but I need to make sure that I kill him there. If I let that 1390 get away, I was within a 1 clip of him, and that is a bad place to be. Artillery again. At this point, this is why I'm happy at the beginning of the game I saved my hit points, because there's not a lot of tanks left alive to shoot on my team, and I'm guessing that there's only going to be 1 spotted at a time, which means you're probably going to take an arty round. Now I go up here, try and get a shot into the T-69, use the bush, double bush, nice big old meaty hit into him, 468, and that puts him to a 1 shot. Our M12 gets, I don't know if he must have been counter batteried, because there's no way that he was spotted by that T-69. I go up, I want to get this T-69 out before he escapes, because again, he can 1-clip me. And the good accuracy and aim time on this tank, I never feel like, unless I'm sniping at very, very long ranges, I never feel in this tank that any shot is like, oh my god, this is massive RNG whether this hits or not, because the accuracy feels good enough. And I never feel like, oh my god, will you just please hurry up and aim? Because again, the aim time is good enough, especially on a gun of such high caliber. Now, 4 kills, 4,670 damage. I would be happy with that in a tier 10 game. There's 2 tanks versus 3 artillery. And I do something stupid here. I decide, oh, I'm going to load HE. Just literally as I load HE, what happens? Bat chat pops up. Now, I think both the GW and the bat chat are both 50-50s for me. I think they both have 440 alpha. The GW Panther fires 1. Finally reload on my HE round. Yeah, they would have both been 50-50s, but I decided to load HE because it's British HE, which means it's usually quite good 64mm penetration. Not too shabby at all. And my last friend in the ISM low rolls. Oh, no, he didn't low roll actually. Unless he fired HE, I'm not 100% sure. On the GW Tiger P, and then gets shotgunned. Now, what is my plan here? I've seen the GW Tiger P. Just fire. And I fluff the HE round. I honestly thought that was going to kill him. Now, the GW Tiger P is now going to reload first because the GW Panther's just fired. So what do? Ramming speed! Kill the GW Tiger P with the ram, and then GW Panther has no chance with the shot. Just because the reload is so long on this thing, and obviously me being stunned as well, I wanted to make sure that I got the GW Tiger P out, and he didn't get a chance to reload, because I knew that my reload would be enough that I could kill the GW Panther, because he'd only just fired at me. And I'm glad I saved all that health at the start of the game, and didn't charge him around the corner. I did 5,492 damage. We blocked 240. I'm not sure what it was from. Oh, it was from the 1390. And got 380 assisted damage. 7 kills. Holy moly, that was a good game. But doing that when my mark of excellence is only at 9%, doing that much damage, and it went up by 2%. Any other tank, that would have gone up by about 5, maybe even 7%. But no. Just 2. Just 2. An ace tanker and my mark goes up from 9 to 11% on my mark of excellence. This tank is ridiculous. And I think just before... Oh, we're going to jump into the post-game stats in just a sec. But just before that, I'm just going to hop over onto Tanks GG, just so you guys can see how many of these things are actually roaming around. But yeah, let's go do some of that before I start talking some more. Right, so here we go, guys. Not into the post-game stats. We'll get into those in just a second. But I'm using What Life here, just to show you how many people have got the Chimera on the EU server at the minute, and it's 1,068. This was below 1,000 when I got the tank. I have got a screenshot somewhere, but I'm not going to bother getting that out now. But you can see just how well this thing is played. It's pretty ridiculous, and how rare it is as well. It's rarer than the SU-76i, Rarer than the KV4 Kroslovsky, and think how often you see those. It's a rare tank. It's rarer than the M41D, and that's only been on sale for 1 day. It's absolutely ridiculous how few of these things are around, guys. But anyway, into the post-game stats. Like I said, ace tanker. I was surprised it was an ace, but at the same time kind of not, because I was hoping that would be an ace for that much damage and that many kills. But at the same time, knowing of how well people are playing in the tank, I thought acing it was going to be very, very tricky, but I'm happy that was an ace. We got a Dimitri's medal as well for killing all 3 SPGs, a high caliber medal, and a top gun as well for getting over 6 kills, in which we got 5,492 damage, 7 kills, and 1,763 base XP. That is a ridiculous amount of XP, but tier 8s, especially reward tanks, premium tanks, do tend to make a lot of XP. We fired 17 shots, hit all 17, and penetrated 13. I think like the shot on the Lerva and the HE bloody pens on that Arty that didn't go, really annoying. And I think there was the one tracking shot on the T29 as well, so not too bad. Like I said, 240 blocked, but we would have still been okay, I believe. We did make 31,000 credits profit. We didn't fire any premium rounds. Like I said, this is your standard kind of, well, like, you don't, considering I fired 17 shots that did 440, the credit, like, how much it cost isn't that bad. And I've run premium consumable. So if you take premium consumable away from this tank, you can see, I don't think it makes premium credits, because if it did, a game like this, I'd have made, like, 200,000 credits or something stupid like that. But you can see it still makes a decent amount of credits, especially in a game that only lasted just less than 10 minutes. And then on my double, I made 5555 XP. Good maths in England, Max. But yeah, there we go, guys. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you found it useful in any way, whether you're getting the Chimera soon, whether you're not getting the Chimera and just want to know about it, anything like that, I hope you have found it enjoyable or useful, or just, I don't know, some other kind of fool. Je ne sais pas. I'm not good at French. Not going to do that. But yes, so I hope you have enjoyed, guys. If you have, please consider giving the video a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And other than that, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for putting up with me talking for probably what's the best part of 30 minutes now. And I'll see you next time.